Hey everyone, and welcome back to Speculatory Sparrow. I know it's been a while since I posted anything, but I'm going to be working on that, and I'm going to try very hard to upload at least once every week. But today, we're going to be talking about Spider-Man Homecoming, as you maybe could tell from Spider-Man. But Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be the second Marvel movie coming out this year. It comes out at some point in July. And of course, it's coming after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Now, Spider-Man Homecoming is the first solo Spider-Man movie we have seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But it's not the first time we've seen Spider-Man in the MCU, because Spider-Man first appeared in Captain America Civil War. And what I'm going to talk about today is I have a few theories about the cast of Spider-Man Homecoming and who some actors who don't have characters yet, who they might be playing. The theory originated from the Marvel Cinematic Universe wiki. If you're a fan of the MCU, I highly suggest you get that app, because if you have any questions, that app has the answer to it. But the theory in question says that actress Tim Daly and actor Gary Weeks are playing two characters from Marvel Comics based on this set photo. Now, as you can see in that set photo, Tim Daly is wearing green, and the way she looks and the clothes that she's wearing makes her reminiscent of comic book character Anne Marie Hogue, who is the director of Damage Control. Now, Damage Control in the Marvel Comics, like just the comics, is a organization that cleans up after superheroes. So like after Avengers, they were the ones who cleaned up New York City, and after Age of Ultron, they were the ones who cleaned up Sokovia. And about a year and a half ago, Marvel Studios announced they were going to be doing a Damage Control comedy, half-hour TV show on ABC, but we haven't heard anything about that since. I saw a theory the other day that the reason why this is because they're going to introduce those characters in Spider-Man Homecoming and then translate them to the small screen. So here's what I think happened. I think Marvel announced that show previous to Civil War because they wanted the show to take place after Civil War. But since Spider-Man Homecoming takes place a few weeks after Civil War, they saw an opening so they could introduce those characters to the movie-going audience, and then the movie-going audience would then go and watch the shows. And then, you know, the shows are their whole separate thing with S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix stuff. But back to the cast of Spider-Man Homecoming. So, the theory I propose, and other people are proposing, is that Tim Daly is playing the director of Damage Control, and that Gary Weeks is playing John Porter. And the reason for this theory is in the picture I showed earlier. Gary Weeks is wearing a name tag about like right here that says DODC, which we assume stands for Department of Damage Control. And later on in the cast, there's a person, I can't remember the actor's name right now, but there's a person credited as DODC guard. So it would make a lot of sense if Damage Control was in this, especially since it's the first movie that sees the more ground level superheroes, like we see in the Netflix series. Some of the other Damage Control employees I think will show up in the movie are based on these actors. I think Tyrone Woodley, who is an MMA fighter, I believe he will be playing Tom Foster, who is the nephew of Bill Foster, who is Goliath in the comics. Now, in the comics, Goliath was killed during Civil War, so I think it is very possible that Tom Foster's uncle, Bill Foster, died during Civil War. Obviously not as a superhero Goliath, but he died during the movie Civil War, and then Tom Foster wants to help Damage Control and to prevent any of that from ever happening again. Another employee from Damage Control is Chris Berry, who we assume is playing Lenny Ballinger. And Lenny Ballinger is not part of the cleanup crew. I think he's part of the more scientific division. I think he's the head of that division. I'm not sure, but you can just go to Wikipedia and search Damage Control and you can find the answers to that. But the reason we think Chris Berry is playing Lenny Ballinger is because there was a leaked, I think it was like a casting call sheet or something for Spider-Man Homecoming, and you can see that here. And so as you can see, Chris Berry has said he was playing, I think, Goon number 2 and Ballinger. Although it's misspelled a little bit, we're pretty sure he's playing Lenny Ballinger. Also on that call sheet, you probably could see that Bokeem Woodbine is playing Shocker, but it said Shocker number 2. Now I find this interesting because Bokeem Woodbine has been confirmed to be playing Herman Schultz, who is the Shocker in the comics. But since it said Shocker number 2, that got me thinking. Logan Marshall Green is supposed to be playing another secondary villain in the movie, who assumingly gets his gadgets from the Tinkerer. So I think Logan Marshall Green could be playing Shocker #1, and then he dies, or the equipment malfunctions, or he gets caught or something. So then Herman Schultz has to take up his position. Now, if this is not the case, I think Logan Marshall Green will be playing Leapfrog, which I know that's a ridiculous name, but hey, it's comics. And Leapfrog has the ability to jump high because of his frog suit. And the reason I think he might be playing him is because Leapfrog has been a part of Damage Control in the past. Another, this isn't really a supervillain, but another superhero that has been involved in Damage Control in the comics is Robbie Baldwin, aka Speedball. And I think Robbie Baldwin will be in this movie for a few reasons. Number one, Speedball first appeared in a Spider-Man comic, so he has relations there, and he's a teenager all throughout the comics. And there's an actor named J.J. Tota. I think that's how you pronounce it. He has a not as of yet undisclosed character, so I think he's playing Robbie Baldwin, and I think he will go on to star in the Damage Control series along with Tim Daly, John Porter, and Chris Berry. And another reason I think this is J.J. Tota was on Jessie, which is a Disney Channel show, and he was on Liv and Maddie, which is another Disney Channel show. And typically Disney likes to move up their actors from the Disney Channel series to other shows, like Max Russo on Wizards of the Waverly Place played a character in The Fosters on ABC Family, or Freeform, as it is called now. So that's all of the Damage Control news I have, or theories. And the rest of the cast, these are people that have names listed on IMDb, but they don't have their last names. And the first of which is Tiffany Espenson, who is credited as Cindy. Most of the internet has speculated that this means that she's going to be playing Cindy Moon, who eventually becomes Silk, who basically is a girl that has the powers of Spider-Man. Another one of these is Isabella Amara, who is credited as playing Sally, and I think she's playing Sally Arville, who becomes the villain Bluebird. Now, what's interesting about Bluebird is she actually steals some of Vulture's tech and becomes a villain to Spider-Man. So I think that's interesting because, you know, Vulture's the villain of this movie, so it'd be a cool sequel thread for her to be the villain and to be the friend in this one. But how about we get to some names that are actually being confirmed? We have Jacob Batalon, who's playing Ned Leeds, who in this iteration of the character is Spider-Man's best friend in college. And then we have Michael Barbieri, however you say that, as Jason Masondale, who's also a friend of Peter Parker. And the reason I coupled these two names together is because in the comics they have both been an entity known as Hobgoblin. Now Hobgoblin is, I think his real name is Richard Kingsdale, and in the comics he's basically this dude that brainwashes people into becoming Hobgoblin, and then they do villainous acts for him. So I think this, either the second movie or the third movie in the Spider-Man trilogy, is going to lead to a Hobgoblin villain, with Ned Leeds and Jason Masondale being the villains in that movie. And that's all the names that have been confirmed, but there's one actor that everyone's like, who is he playing? What the heck is he doing here? And that is Donald Glover. Donald Glover appeared in the trailer, seemingly beside the Tinkerer, you know, wearing like a red and black striped shirt. That wasn't planned. But a red and black striped shirt, and he's just standing there kind of like, and he's not really doing anything. But the internet theories say that he's playing Aaron Davis, also known as the Prowler. And what's significant about that character is Aaron Davis is the uncle of Miles Morales. Now, if you're a fan of Marvel Comics and a fan of Spider-Man, you probably know that name, but for those of you who don't, Miles Morales is the ultimate version of Spider-Man. Not the TV show Ultimate Spider-Man, but the comic Ultimate version of Spider-Man. And he's black. So what I think this means is if Donald Glover is playing Aaron Davis, and Tiffany Espenson is playing Cindy Moon, then I think we might be going to a Spider-Verse movie to round off the Spider-Man trilogy. And that would be amazing. Another thing I have to support this theory is Michael Mondo, who is, he's born in Canada, but he's of Mexican and Spanish descent. I think he's playing an ancestor of Miguel O'Hara, who is Spider-Man 2099, also leading towards the Spider-Verse arc. So, that's all the characters I have for you. That's all of the actors I think that, that's who I think will be playing in Spider-Man Homecoming. So if you have any more theories of Spider-Man Homecoming, you can let me know on Twitter at GeekySportsFan, or if you have a theory that you would like me to make a video on and discuss in further detail, also at GeekySportsFan on Twitter. I'll see you later.